All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Arnett here again with another COVID Con on behalf of SisterHood Incorporated from Burlington, New Jersey. And tonight it should be a very interesting discussion. Have some wonderful guests that'll be sharing with us tonight some valuable information for the state of New Jersey and of course for Burlington County, New Jersey in particular. And so tonight I am honored to have with me some distinguished guests, and I told them already I am the least among them tonight, and sometimes that's a good position to be in. And so I encourage you, wherever you are, whatever platform you're on, please feel free to share this stream with those on your own social media pages. Please feel free to go ahead and share from my social media, from my Facebook page, Kenyatta Arnett. You can go ahead and share this on your own page, start your own watch party. The more information we share with others, the better we will become and the stronger we are as a community of people. And so please feel free to share some more. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Tonight we have some wonderful guests that are with us. Tonight I am honored to have with us the Congressman Andy Kim. I'm here with Senator Troy Singleton and of course, Mayor Barry Conaway of Burlington City. And so please welcome each of them as they are going to come tonight and share with us about the COVID pandemic. And our thought for tonight is how the virus has impacted residents in Burlington City, Burlington County, and what this means for policymakers. So at this time, I'm going to open up and allow my guests to go ahead and introduce themselves. And so we'll start with Congressman Andy Kim.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Congressman Andy Kim, representing the New Jersey 3rd Congressional District across Burlington County and Ocean Counties. I'm down here at the Capitol, doing my best to try to make sure we're getting what we need back home. So thanks so much for having me, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions today.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll go with Senator Troy Singleton.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Senator Troy Singleton. I represent the 7th Legislative District, which encompasses 17 communities in Burlington County, Burlington City being one of those. I'm excited to be with my dear friends and colleagues, Congressman Kim and Mayor Conaway, to have a real thoughtful and engaging dialogue on COVID and its impact here in Burlington County and Burlington City. So look forward to the conversation tonight.
Thank you so much, Senator Singleton. And next we'll have our own Mayor Barry Conaway from Burlington City. Mayor, I think you're muted.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barry Conaway, Mayor of the historic city of Burlington, and I'm glad to be here this evening. And hopefully that we can share information and all of us get through COVID, because I know that we're tired of COVID. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. I know you guys are, each one of you is so busy. But we definitely, on behalf of SisterHood, I think it's okay for me on behalf of Reverend Hilda Covington and SisterHood Incorporated to say thank you for taking time out of your schedules to share with us for these next few minutes. And so let's go ahead and get started. Just a couple of questions, and feel free, each of you, just feel free to fill in from your respective offices, respective positions to give us information and facts as you see fit from your own, sphere of influence and authority. So let me just start off. Where are we? Can someone please give us an overview of where are we, I guess, across the nation? Let's start there with this pandemic. We've heard just today with the changes with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I'm sure that has changed and put people on high alert. So what can we say about the pandemic as a whole, and as we're looking nationally, and then we'll come statewide?
Yeah, well, look, I'll jump in here and give the kind of perspective from the federal level. Right now, we're a year into this. I know how tough it's been for so many people across the district, across our country. And I want to start by saying and acknowledging that and saying, look, for people who are watching, if you need any help, please let me know. Please let Troy, please let the mayor know. We all stand by. We know that when it comes to this pandemic, there's no single level of government alone that's going to be able to solve this problem. It takes all of us working hand in hand to be able to do that. My job here at the Capitol is try to help make sure that we have the vaccine doses, that we have the testing, that we have support for small businesses, that we have efforts like that. Right now, the most important thing that we can be doing is getting vaccines into arms, making sure that we're getting that out there. We've been able to help millions of Americans in New Jersey already. We are working, I'm prioritizing as well, particular seniors, homebound seniors, veterans, people that have pre-existing conditions that may make it more difficult for them if they were to get the virus. Please, if you have had any trouble getting an appointment, please contact my office. We will work with you to try to get that. So that is, where we stand right now. We have so far, we're averaging anywhere from 3 to 4 million doses a day in our country right now, which is extraordinary given where we were at just a few months ago. But I'm not going to be happy until every single person in this country has the ability to be able to get an appointment and get that vaccine as soon as possible. So I know many of you have been patiently waiting. Thank you for doing so. I've been waiting as well, and hopefully all of us will be getting our doses soon. But please, let us know if we can help in any way. Things are looking better. We see the prospects of us being able to open up, but we can't let our guard down at this point. We're still seeing the virus, especially in New Jersey, at a high rate, and we're also concerned about some of these variants that could make this more difficult to be able to contain. So, we're certainly pushing through, but we still need to make sure we keep our guard up.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, to take a minute to take it down to the state level and amplify what Andy's talking about. And I want to underscore, Andy Kim, our congressman, has been an incredible partner for those of us in Burlington County, and especially here in the state of New Jersey, continuing to fight to make sure we get through the logjam of getting more doses into our state. As of this juncture right now, a little over 5.4 million vaccine doses have been administered in the state of New Jersey. And to put that into perspective, about 3.5 of those are folks who at least have one vaccine, and another 2.2 million New Jerseyans are fully vaccinated. Now, we're still a state of 9 million people, right? And some of those obviously are children and under the age of 16, which are not right now approved for the vaccines to happen. But we want to continue to see the rollout happen for so many adults. And as we think about that and we look through it, as we look through the Burlington County lens, it's something that we should be proud of here in Burlington County. Because in Burlington County, we've had over 290,000 vaccines that have been administered here in our county as well. And through the mega site over in Morristown, through our partnership with outfits like Rite Aid and other drugstores, we've been able to get teachers involved and some of our seniors, our homebound seniors, working with Congressman Kim to get more and more vaccines into people's arms. Because the only way we get to the new normal and a better normal is to make sure so many of us are getting vaccinated. But the work continues. As Andy said, the variants are tough, and we're still seeing high numbers here in the state of New Jersey. So even if you're vaccinated, continue to mask up, continue to stay vigilant. We need to do those things in order for us to move forward to create a better future for us all.
Thank you. Mayor, can you tell us about what's going on? How is the pandemic impacting the city of Burlington?
Well, I'll start at the administration level. We're still have City Hall closed, and we're working on a flex schedule. Again, we want to keep the government running, so I want to make sure that people are not getting sick in the virus to shut down this government. We know that there is a strain going through Burlington City. Our friendship with each other, our familiarity with each other can get us in trouble. And so that we may see our friends out there thinking that they're fine. And, again, I'm going to encourage everyone to take the vaccine. I think that they should. No, there's no way that Burlington City can get back unless we're taking the vaccine. We need to make sure that we're protecting our elderly parents, our aunts and uncles, our friends, and us getting together and meeting each other can be harmful to us. And I can't stress that enough. It is very difficult to get information of a friend or family member that has passed away, and we can't. We want to get past this, but it's not going to happen without a full effort. And Senator Singleton and Congressman Kim have said they've been big supporters of the city of Burlington. One of the things that is disheartening is that we're as far as unemployment, some are still struggling with unemployment. I pushed them out to the senator, also to Assemblywoman, to Assembly people to help out. But it is this impacts everyone, and more than any other pandemic, any more than any other crisis that has occurred in the United States outside of a large war, that whether it's World War One, II, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, this one right here has impacted the economy like no other has. And if we want the economy to get back, we need to get shots in arms so we can get past this.
Awesome. I agree. As I stated earlier, even though I don't currently live in Burlington County will always be home for me. One, because my mother lives right there in West Hampton. Many of my family members live in that area. And so that is home for me. And so to see the work that you all are doing means a lot to me because, like I said, that's home. My family is still there. Let me ask, how from a political perspective, there's been so much controversy with regards to how people perceive the vaccine. How do you feel we can better curb the negative perspectives toward the vaccine, particularly in communities of color, which tend to be more apprehensive about getting the vaccine? They're very apprehensive toward this whole situation based on historical events and occurrences toward African Americans with regards to medical science. How can we address this in a better way to get more people of color vaccinated?
So I'll start on that one. I think the first thing we have to do is acknowledge the painful history of medical experimentation in the African American community. And we have to acknowledge that. And we have to acknowledge it in such a way to talk about where we are at today. And this vaccine and the technology that's been used into it wasn't done overnight. Now, I think a lot of people have this misconception because it got put out there under where President Trump talked about Project Warp Speed, that for people believe that like corners were cut. And that's not the case. This has efficacy. It has been tested. It is something that, as of someone who has taken the vaccine, I've taken the Pfizer vaccine and know it of my own personal medical history and know what its impact has been to me, to give me the confidence that I can go see someone like my grandmother for the first time in a year and physically see her and hug her, right? That those are the types of things that matter to me. In order for us to do that, we have to rely and trust in science. And I say that trust in science and use and determine it for our own selves, not use new internet scientists or street corner scientists or barbershop scientists. We got to walk away from that. We got to actually take some time to understand and trust the science on this and listen to those from our community who have been vaccinated. I got vaccinated and I did it publicly, and Andy was with me when I did it. I did publicly because it was important for me as an African-American male to let other African-Americans know that in order for us to get beyond this, that we have to step up, because COVID has negatively impacted our communities more than any other. The numbers do not lie, right? And if we are going to be able to move beyond this, then we have to be ones who step forward and get vaccinated. But I encourage you all not to regurgitate things that you've heard. Do the due diligence to actually look at the actual science. And here in New Jersey, the Department of Health has on his website has a vaccine facts website. Can give you all the medical information, all the scientific data that folks want. I encourage folks to go look at it themselves. Take that information and then go try and pick it apart if you must. But listen to real experts to tell you how this can happen. And because our community has been so negatively impacted, we have to be at the forefront, sort of to make our way beyond this.
Thank you. And I'm another one. I had the vaccine, and so I'm a pastor as well, and so I've been just as public about mine too. So I had Moderna. Did you experience any kind of side effects with your vaccination?
The first one I had Pfizer. The first one, my arm hurt, and my arm hurt a little bit because Andy was standing next to me, tried to jab me real quick while I got my shot. So my arm hurt, right? And on my second one, honestly, I had about 3 or 4 hours of some chills and a little fever, and that was it. But everybody reacts differently. So I don't want someone to say, well, Senator Singleton got it, Pfizer, and he had 3 or 4 hours and he was fine, but somebody else was in bed all week. We all react differently, right? And our body chemistries are all different. But I promise you, when the vaccine's the basic science, when it gets in your arm, it's teaching your body how to fight off if the virus.
Exactly.
So you're going to have some ill effects just as your body's getting used to that being in your system. But I promise you, it will protect you. No matter what any street corner scientist tells you, it will protect you.
So you've met some of the street corner scientists as well, huh?
Man, I see so many PhDs, you wouldn't even know why. It's like alphabet soup. It's like alphabet soup. But I'm gonna trust the scientists, though. I'm gonna trust science on this one.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm gonna trust the degreed scientist,
yes,
and the degreed pharmacist with regards to this vaccine. My experience was similar, and that's one of those things I keep trying to impress upon people, that your body's going to respond differently. And again, it's just your natural response, your body building up its own defense against this virus in your system. Anyone else want to share your perspectives on how we could have possibly approached the negative perceptions that we have in communities of color?
Yeah, well, look, I'll just jump in real quick and just say, what Troy was saying is absolutely right. We need to speak out about this and be visible about getting the vaccine, about the data, making sure that we're talking about it in terms of plain facts. Also, it's not just about the vaccine itself, but we got to make it accessible. We got to make sure that we're getting out there, educating, informing people how to sign up for appointments. We've been trying to take some other tactics in terms of having, pop-up sites, at churches and in Black communities and elsewhere. Tabernacle and others were able to host some of the vaccine sites, and I think that helps. Also, right now we're trying to get more doses out to family physicians, because I think a lot of folks that might be hesitant to go to a big mega site or something like that, they might feel more comfortable if it's their family doctor that they've known for years, and there's a trusted element there as well. So I think some of those different elements, and then look, for some of the the communities of color, immigrant communities, we need to get better at producing this information in multiple languages. Some of the appointment systems don't have. That's just the congressional bell. Don't mind that. But just making sure that we have that kind of information that's out there for a lot of different languages, making sure it's accessible, and making sure that we push forward. So those are a couple of my thoughts.
Thank you. How has the response of? I know you had Tabernacle that's been supportive. How has the response of the church as a whole, the faith community as a whole, been with regards to vaccines? Vaccine site, just supporting the whole vaccine initiative. Has there been much support in the Burlington City area, or is it still lacking? What is
from my experience? We've had an extraordinary kind of in partnership with different faith leaders. We did a meeting in Willingboro that was had a number of different faith leaders coming together to be able to get information out, and all of us are trying to just again kind of sing from the same sheet of music and make sure that we're getting information out there to our community. And so I've had a great partnership in terms of transparent information out there, engage with faith leaders, engage with the mayor, with Troy and others. So that kind of collaboration is what we need. And frankly, that's what shows people that, we have that kind of united force across our entire community, which gives greater confidence that we're working and we're doing things. But frankly, it was, some of these ideas, I mean, whether it's Tabernacle or some of the other ideas, these were, faith leaders that came together, said, what can we do to help? And, whether it's putting up, using their facility and their location, or whether or not it's, getting word out to their communities, everyone's just really rolling up their sleeves during this tough time. So I think it's been incredible.
Awesome. Mayor, how has this, the impact in the schools there in, I'm a teacher too. I guess you're saying, what doesn't this man do? I'm an educator too. And so how has this, I don't know how is the schools functioning in Burlington? Are they hybrid, doing this hybrid virtual?
They're working as a hybrid, and early on, the digital divide really was a major impact in the school district. They started out giving out paper packets, having you come up to the school district for paper packets. The police department and worked around to get lunches out to school kids at their homes, and meet them at central locations within town. We continue to do that. The drop off of the lunches. The school district right now is in a hybrid mode, and so if you're on the blue team, I believe you're going to school Monday and Tuesday, off Wednesday, and if you're on the white team, you're going to school Thursday and Friday. And you have your computer. Some, again, if you don't have internet at home, it's going to be very difficult for you to get educated. And we know school kids, children in school are falling behind. If you are a social butterfly or not a social butterfly, being in school means a lot. And sure, staying at home each and every day, that's not a healthy way to learn, even for adults that are getting educated. Online education for some is very difficult. So you can imagine someone 5 to 18 years old trying to get educated during this period. It's not the best. I have a grandson that's going through it. I have a son in college that's going through it. So it's not easy for them.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, I understand. Like I said, as a high school teacher, I'm familiar with the packets and that internet, that digital divide. We're really seeing it's a major issue. It's a major concern. And and staying right there.
Yada, can I chime in on what the mayor just talked about, if you don't mind?
You sure can.
Just to take it one step further. So in Burlington County, there are about 24 districts right now that are open for 5-day sort of in-person learning, with another 11 or so that are open for hybrid learning. So right now, there are no districts as total that are full remote as of just earlier this week. So there's some combination of the two. But to the mayor's point about the digital divide, I think when we talk about representation mattering, this is why it matters. When we have someone like Congressman Kim down in Washington, D.C., working with President Biden, the American Rescue Act that was passed, one of the provisions of it that hasn't been talked about a lot, but I know because Andy and I talked about it, I know he believes in it, was money that's geared to come to the states to enhance community broadband infrastructure. And the mayor's right. Like if you got a device, but you don't got a way to get on the internet superhighway, you just sitting in a broken down car, basically, right? And the work that Andy and his colleagues in Washington did to make sure that kind of component is in there, that we're going to have community broadband, so that if we come out of this pandemic doing the same stuff we did before, then we haven't learned a thing. And one of the things we need to do is invest in community broadband. So I just wanted to publicly salute my congressman, because he was fighting for things like that in that American Rescue Act. And we've been trying to dovetail off of that here in the state as well. But resource that he helped deliver that'll come to New Jersey is going to help Mayor Conaway when they're able to give kids the devices, and now they're going to be able to give them access to the internet. Because right now, when we're all working from home, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity.
Right.
It's a necessity for our kids and a necessity for the adults.
That's right.
Can you explain a little bit more for us about community broadband? What is that going to look like? What is community broadband?
So I'll take a stab at it first, and I know Congressman Kim will want to jump in as well. But essentially, what it does is make sure that a lot of the fiber optic cables that allow us to bridge that digital divide that the mayor's talking about in certain parts of our state, even parts that we think should already have it, it's not there. In many of our urban pockets, we have some challenges. In our sort of ex-urban, those urban rim communities, right? Some of our communities that are from a tougher socioeconomic background, they have those challenges. Our rural areas, it's really a statewide problem. So for us, with this level of resources, every time that the state of New Jersey opens up a road, or when the mayor does his work to make the infrastructure of his town better, now he'll have the resources to make sure, let's lay some fiber optic cable in there as well. Right? We opening the road anyway. We got to fix some stuff in the road. We're paving it. Let's put the fiber optic cables in there. Let's make sure folks have access to the internet, right? Not just make it a luxury for the well-heeled. Let everybody have that opportunity. So to me, that community broadband is like hubs in communities to allow folks to have access to the internet without having to worry about their own socioeconomic condition to make it happen.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I mean, look, what the mayor is saying is absolutely right. This is something that we're pushing in so many different directions. So we have the state and local funding that we've been able to provide that gets at what Troy was just talking about. Thinking about ways that we can make those investments. But on top of that, the rescue plan was able to deliver $2.8 billion to New Jersey schools to help support every single town in our district is going to get help, both in terms of the schools as well as direct support when it comes to our state and local funding. So, I was really proud to be able to join with the mayor and come to Burlington with the First Lady just a couple days after we did the rescue plan to, again, showcase our investment into our kids. I'm a father of two little boys as well. We want to make sure that we can deliver the kind of education that they need and deserve and be able to do that as quickly as possible. So that kind of support is something that we absolutely prioritize. And hopefully that's going to be able to do a lot of good to help us get through this pandemic. And as Troy was saying, emerge stronger than we were before and really use this to build not just our resilience, but take it to the next level and build that higher foundation, which is something that we're trying to do, both with that as well as some of the follow-on legislation that we're working on now that can hopefully build upon that.
Awesome. Mary, you want to add anything to?
I think that, and besides the school children, just think about your job, and if you're taken to a given and put on a new job, such as the teachers have. The teachers were in the school. Now they have to scramble to try to find a area in their home or the school to teach to children and keep them activated, engaged in it. That's very difficult. And
Yes.
And I know some, across the river they have cyber academies. I don't know if that's going to work here, or that's going to be a genesis of cyber academies in New Jersey. But that may be something that may come about in the future, because we know that at least we expect this to be the last pandemic in our lifetime, but we need to be well prepared.
True. Thank you so much. And again, trust me, the broadband is something that we definitely need. It's coming from perspective of a teacher, because that has been a major challenge of ours. Teachers everywhere, that digital access is a major concern. And you're right, teachers I've had to convert bedrooms into a classroom. The only thing I don't have at home is a whiteboard, but I had to buy furniture for home to make it look like a classroom for when I'm streaming from home. So you are so correct. Thank you. And as a teacher, I appreciate the efforts that you're making to help teachers. Is there any support or resources going to be given to schools to help maybe upgrade the ventilation systems? I know we have some older schools, and that ventilation, that cross ventilation is a major issue. Will there be any kind of support given to schools to do things like that, infrastructure changes?
Yeah, that's part of the 2.8 billion that's coming to New Jersey schools that I was talking about. So that's going to schools, and that can be used for instance, upgrading HVAC systems to be able to make sure that we can have better cleaner air and be able to filter that, and other types of upgrades that can be able to help students be able to learn now. So that money is something that we've been engaged with. I've had multiple conversations with all the different school districts across the 3rd district of New Jersey. So we're already talking with them about what they can use this funds for to try to do those upgrades that are very much needed. You're absolutely right. These are some of the biggest things that I've heard from school districts about some of the troubles that they have. They can also use that funding to purchase more personal protective equipment and other things like that to be able to make sure that teachers, educators, education support professionals, and others are able to make sure that they can feel safe and secure doing this job as well. Beyond that, as well as the prioritization of our educators and others to be able to get vaccines too. Those are the multifaceted ways that we're trying to help across, New Jersey, things that Troy, the mayor are doing, kind of connecting in with what we're trying to do at the federal level.
Awesome. Mayor, last week I had an opportunity to talk with your police chief. And can you say more about the collaboration that you're doing with the police department and their role in your efforts in Burlington City? You're muted again.
The police chief has been forward thinking since he has taken on the role of chief. And when the pandemic came about, one of the things about community policing is to make sure to see the police to those that are in school in a different light, and see them as caring and helpful. And so that's where the genesis of working with the school district to get lunches out to the school kids, school age kids, and that has been tremendous. The Burlington County Sheriff's Department has been on board with that, and the chief can't thank him enough for taking on that leadership. He's been working with a local church, Lighthouse Worship Center, and they've partnered together as far as every 3rd Saturday, and making sure they got food delivered to those that can't get out, and for those that are mobile, that they can come by and pick up the essentials for their home. And so that's been fantastic, and appreciate his leadership on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me ask this question about, it was mentioned earlier about the vaccine distribution. And we talked about the increase in the number of vaccines per day that are being done, which is tremendous increase, especially compared to where we were when we first started in this pandemic. What changes are being made to vaccine distribution, or how the allocation of vaccines are given throughout the state of New Jersey? How is that decided?
So what the mechanism starts with how much vaccine comes into the state. So that's the fundamental point. And with the recent stoppage of the J&J vaccine being administered, the number of vaccine shots we have in the state has stopped in that sort of commiserate percentage because of the J&J pieces being out. But once the vaccines, they come into our state, they're distributed through the entire network and channels in which we have vaccine distribution. And there are an enormous amount of channels throughout the state. So you see, we have the mega site here in Morristown in Burlington County, and there are multiple mega sites around the state. But now we see the vaccines also made it to many of our pharmacies, Rite Aid being a big one, CVS and others. And we're also seeing the pop-ups that are being established all throughout the state, which is really an important thing and something that's happening. So There's a distribution network that's done through the Department of Health. When they come into the state, Department of Health administers them to all the various sites. And then the sites set up the number of appointments they have based on the vaccine doses they get on a sort of a weekly rolling basis. So that's how that process works. When we have more vaccine, then we have more appointments and more slots. In the beginning, it was kind of tight, but we're going to get back to being able to have multiple locations and many vaccine appointments. But like Andy said, if folks are having issues with appointments, we've been helpful and been able to help folks get appointments through the various channels, through the various resources. And I would tell folks, don't just, if you're okay to travel, it's okay to travel a little bit to get this shot, right? So you may not be able to just get it in Morristown, but you may have to go down to Rowan College in South Jersey for its spot, or you may have to go up to Trenton or wherever. So we try and tell folks to be flexible. But as we continue to get more vaccine doses in, there's ample opportunities for folks to get that shot and to get back to being, themselves again.
Awesome. It was also mentioned about the variants. Now, what variants have been identified in New Jersey? Last week we talked about how the viruses mutate. We were explaining to the people that's what the variants are, how the virus is mutating. What variants are being identified in New Jersey now?
Yeah, so just real quick. So I mean, we're seeing this all across all across our country right now. So right now, the main strand that we're seeing in the United States right now is the UK variant known as B.1.1.7. This is a more contagious than infectious virus, which is why we saw increased rates throughout the UK and in Europe. So that is one that we're certainly concerned about. There are a number of other variants that are out there, but we don't see them as prevalent here in New Jersey or in the United States. But there are about 4 or 5 main variants that we've seen, which is why it's so important that we try to get vaccinated quickly. Because the longer that the virus is out there in our country and other countries, the greater the chance that there's going to be some type of mutation that would potentially cause more issues there. Now, so far from what we've seen, the vaccines that we have at our disposal are also effective against these variant components. So, but we have scientists and experts who are continuing to do testing on that and identifying whether or not, booster shots might be needed down the road or things like that. But I don't want people to get concerned about that at this point. Again, like Troy was saying, we should be taking our cues from experts, from scientific minds. Always said that the street corner scientists, I think they're saying other things like that. I like that. I'll have to use that. But but I just say this to stress the need for us to try to get these vaccines sooner. Think about it this way: it's not just about your health. The faster that we can get people vaccinated, it means the faster that you and your families will be healthy. It'll minimize the potential for additional variants, but it's also how we open up our economy and get things moving faster. The best tool that we have right now to help our small businesses, to help our economy, is the vaccine. It's more important than the Paycheck Protection Program and these other efforts that we have. Those are efforts that just kind of hold us over, keep small businesses afloat until we can have that full opening. But we can't get there until we have that vaccine. So the vaccine is not just about public health. It's about our strong economy, and it's about preventing the kind of variants that could potentially prolong this pandemic going forward. So again, I just stress it enough. If people have questions, contact my office. I'm sure you can contact the mayor and contact Troy's office too. We're happy to sit down and talk to you on the phone or pass along any and all information. If you have any questions, any concerns, we will work with you to try to get you the information you need to make that decision. And I really can't stress enough how important that is right now.
Is there what does the foreseeable future look like for children in vaccinations for children?
So I will tell
Troy.
you right now, we know in a couple different states, New Jersey being one of them, they're doing vaccines to folks 16 down to age 16 and above, right? I don't think there's enough scientific research yet. And they're still looking for folks to do trials and children and parents to get permission for children to be in trials to see what the vaccine does to children at a younger age. So we're not there yet. We're down about as young as 16 at this juncture right now. But to just go back to Andy's point and want to stress what he said, which is important, we know these variants are here, that they're coming. I think based on some of the CDC data in New Jersey, 1 in 4 of all the recent COVID infections were related to one of the variants. But there's a few things that we can arm ourselves with that are tried and true that have worked, right? So continue to wear masks, continue to maintain that physical distance, social distancing, wash your hands constantly, as we said, and get tested for the COVID-19 if you're feeling sick or you think you've been in contact. And absolutely, when you're eligible, get immunized with this against this virus with the vaccine. If we continue to do those things, right, in partnership, then as Andy said, the variants will come, but we'll be armored. And Pastor, you know this because you know that godly armor that we're supposed to have on when we're in the Word. It's that same sort of that concept, right? Armor yourself against what is coming against us, right? And we have the tools that have been placed before us, right? Wash your hands, wear a mask, social distance, and get vaccinated. That's how we protect ourselves and our neighbors.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know we're coming to the end of our hour. From a state, local, federal level, can you explain something about your COVID relief measures that you're implementing? I know Congressman has been working on some things. Yes, because Ms. Miles told me to ask you about that specifically. If you could talk about some COVID relief measures that are being implemented from a state perspective, from the state level, local level.
Yeah, well, look, again, this is one of those great elements that cuts across all of the work that the three of us are doing because it's hand in hand a partnership. My part of this is to try to deliver the federal funding that can then help amplify what Troy is doing and what the mayor is doing. A couple of things. One is we had the direct relief that was going out to a lot of Americans. So that is something that hopefully people are getting their support either direct deposit or by checks. We also have continued support for small businesses through the Paycheck Protection Program and a number of other efforts. We have a new effort underway when it comes to restaurants and just helping our restaurants get through this tough time. So we have dedicated funds for that. We also have ones called Shuttered Venues Operators Grants, which is for movie theaters, concert halls, performing arts that have been some of the hardest hit industries that are out there. Continued support for unemployment insurance. So there's a lot of different efforts that we've been engaged in, plus the support to state and local governments, which then Troy and the mayor can take from there and be able to give out grants from the New Jersey state level to small businesses and to other efforts, as well as what our municipalities and our townships can be doing. So, we are trying to provide these resources out there and then leave it to the senator, our governor, our mayor, and others to identify what they see as some priorities in their own communities because they know what's best for their communities and where the struggles are. So we wanted to give them some flexibility for that too. But that shows you how every element of government has to work together for common cause right now, and how we're all in the same boat. And I think that's such an important element. But Troy and the mayor can chime in as they want.
I think Andy talked about the leverage of how it goes, right? So the federal government has allocated through Andy's work and his colleagues of like mind in Congress. There's going to be $6.4 billion in the most recent American Rescue Act that's going to come to New Jersey. $86 million are going to come to Burlington County. And the programs that Andy's talked about, we're standing up. So we're going to use that for rental assistance because we know renters and landlords have been negatively impacted and we need to use those dollars to help them. We're going to use it to try and do our best to continue to fight against food insecurity, making sure that not only our food banks kept whole, but that we have resources to help those who've been struggling throughout. And lastly, but certainly not least, one of the other big items is the money that's going through that we continue to try and work through the challenges on for unemployment assistance for so many New Jerseyans. the resources that have come down from the federal government that had to be stand up through the programs in the state. While it's been a frustration for all of us, right? Those who've been waiting and those of us who are trying to fight for them to get it, we know that those dollars are going to go right back into people's hands and help them. So for us, it's about getting our housing done. It's about providing resources to our businesses, which we just recently passed and the governor signed money for, as Andy talked about, for our restaurants, for nonprofits, for small and mid-sized businesses, the work legislation that I've authored for minority businesses. We're putting real money back in the hands of small business owners and also into their employees. But we have to do more. And through Andy's work, that $6.4 billion that's going to come to New Jersey over the next, which has to be spent by 2024, it's going to go to really bringing us out of this pandemic stronger than when we went into it.
Excellent. Excellent.
And at the local level, again, Congressman Kim has been great. And so, first of all, the Burlington City is going to receive just shade under $1 million. We're going to receive one part probably in the late July, and the second part in 2022. And one of the biggest changes was that before FEMA would reimburse the city at 75%. Now we're going to get reimbursed at 100%. And so everything that we've expended, we're going to get that back as far as hours and other resources that have been used. That is key. And at the state level, Senator Singleton and the monies that have been put into Main Street that can help so businesses survive. That's been huge, and we can't thank them enough for working hard and pushing that down to the local level.
Awesome. Thank you guys for showing us how it is possible to work together, regardless of what level we're on. Just the collaboration, we can see the cohesiveness, and it's definitely appreciated. In fact, people have been commenting in the chat how proud they are of all three of you. They personalized, that's my senator, that's my congressman, and that's my mayor. I have seen that repeatedly in the chat. So just want you to know your constituents definitely appreciate your hard work. As we're getting ready to go to a close, what advice would you give to young people, to people in general? The weather's getting warm. A lot of stuff happens on the waterfront in Burlington. I told you I'm from that area, so I know the celebrations, the festivities, 4th of July is coming. What advice would you give to us, to our families and friends, as the weather is getting warmer, but the pandemic is not over?
Public gatherings cannot be more than 200. We are not looking to have public gatherings on city property. I can't tell you what to do in your personal home, but if you are resistant, hesitant about not getting the vaccine, you're taking risk. You have to, if you have faith, then you got to have faith that the vaccine is going to work. We know it's going to work. We know that taking the vaccine keeps you out of the hospital. And if you're in the hospital and no one can go visit you, why would you want that? And so we have a 17-acre riverfront. You're more than welcome to come down to the riverfront, walk that riverfront with your friends, have your mask on. If you're by yourself, you can not have your mask on. But as soon as you get within 6 feet of someone, you need to have that mask on. We want you to enjoy the outdoor space. We want you to go to Kennedy Park. We want you to go to Promenade. But being within 6 feet of each other and thinking that you understand that individual that's within 6 feet of you, not a good idea. Put the mask on, keep the mask on, make sure you're sanitizing yourself, make sure you're changing out your mask, and by all means, keep yourself and your friends healthy by not congregating in large quantities.
And just to echo on the mayor's point, Kenyatta, you hit the nail on the head, right? Though the weather is getting warm, the pandemic and COVID has not left us. So we got to stay diligent. We have to, right? Not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors. And speaking to my neighbors in Burlington City, especially as a kid who grew up just across Route 130 in Willingboro, and I know that everybody wanted to be at Burlington City's waterfront during the summer. We just have to be smart. And the mayor said it. mask up, maintain social distance. And frankly, if you can get vaccinated, I encourage you to please do. We will get beyond this, right? Through a combination of that old-fashioned Jersey grit and good common sense. We will get beyond this, but it's going to take all of us to do it. So let's be smart about it. Warm weather doesn't mean that COVID has left us. No matter what anybody tells you, it is still here. So let's be smart and let's get through this on the other side together.
Congressman, you have any closing words of encouragement or to the people?
Yeah, well, look, what I'll say is kind of what I was started off by saying, which is I know we've been through a lot of tough times and have seen some real struggles amongst the communities, people not knowing where their next meal is going to come from or whether they can keep a roof over their head. But what I've also been able to see is just such kindness, such service, such empathy throughout our community. I've seen just some of the most generous spirit out there that I've ever seen in my life. So I want us to just keep that in mind. And, I think it's really shown us the importance of community. And I hope people really see that. I think sometimes we don't see that in our day-to-day lives. You go to work, you come home, you drive your car into the garage, you turn on the TV, things like that. But, this pandemic has really shown us and how much we can really embrace by that. So, what I'll just say is let's make sure we keep that spirit going forward. We're going to get through this pandemic. We're going to get through this okay. We're going to try to make sure that we come out stronger than we did before. But let's make sure we don't just go back to, where things are. Mm-hmm. The idea was not to just dial back the clock to February 2020. We should learn from this and hopefully continue that kind of connective understanding about what a community means. And I think, for the young folks out there, I hope you've seen in what we've tried to do, the best of what we got in this country, that us adults are trying to make sure we're doing this right. We haven't done everything perfect, but we're certainly trying to do this. This is unprecedented and a historic moment that we're living through right now. And there's so many challenges that we face. So I come out of this with a lot of hope that we're going to be able to be resilient and strong. And I've seen it right here in our own community, and we should be proud of that. So let's keep it up. Keep looking out for your neighbors. Keep encouraging it. Seek out proper information. I have a COVID email newsletter that goes out pretty much every day from my office. If that can be helpful, please go to my office. It's just kim.house.gov. And you can sign up for that. I know Troy and the mayor have a lot of information going out. So just keep in touch and let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Your website again was kim.house.gov?
Yeah, that's right. Pretty simple there. I have a short last name.
Awesome. Well, let me again say thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day to just share with me tonight as we try to share and encourage and just empower the people of Burlington County and state of New Jersey at large. I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for the hard work that you do from the federal level down to the local level. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep showing us that it's possible to work together to make positive things happen. I appreciate each of you for your time. And on behalf of SisterHood Incorporated, Pastor Covington says, thank you so much. All right, gentlemen, you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Take care.